Hello everyone, Adwin's back again with another episode review of the Magia Record anime. Honestly, considering how late I was with the last video, I see no point in delaying, so let's just get right into it. So at the end of the last episode, they had quite a focus on Felicia's motivation to kill witches, especially since that was the cult's main way of manipulating Felicia into joining their team. The beginning of this episode follows up on that with a flashback. We see the scene in which Felicia makes her wish to Kyubei, where her family had died in the presence of a witch. Fueled by rage, she makes her wish to become a magical girl, declares to kill all witches, and that takes us into the real part of the episode. And I would argue we're taken into it a little too quickly, because when the opening scene ends, we're immediately taken to Felicia already following this cult member into some sewers. I mean, it's not like we didn't expect Felicia to defect to the cult already, but it still seems a little jarring. Like what, did Yachiyo and the others just let Felicia go with these creepy cult members? Did they really have no objection to it? Even if they did do that, some confirmation that that happened, even with like just a small scene of Felicia walking away while, the others were watching her do that, that would have made things a little less awkward. But along the way, we have our guest character, Kyoko Sakura. She happened to also be recruited by the Magius, and, knowing Kyoko, she's probably not really interested in their goals, but goes along with it anyway, probably to be fair, but mainly because they seem to have the witches, stolen by the bitches. Now, Kyoko and Felicia are fairly similar, both being homeless, familyless, and work as mercenaries. And almost immediately after the two meet, Kyoko establishes herself as a sort of mentor figure to Felicia, which I found was pretty interesting. Especially with the fact that they didn't really talk to each other before then, so Kyoko doesn't really know about Felicia's past, and yet she's already here giving her good advice and establishing herself as a role model for Felicia. I mean, considering how she acted in the original series, it's not out of the question that she acted this way despite her brash nature, but honestly, it was just nice to see. Maybe more so here than it was in the original, because Felicia is a person who would see eye to eye with her. And it helps that Kyoko offered to share her Pocky with Felicia at the very end of their conversation, which I know is a symbol of her trust, but also it's just cute. We cut back to our main characters, and Yachiyo explains that she put a tracker on Felicia at some point? What? Yachiyo justifies this by saying that she doesn't trust Felicia, which, kind of fair enough on that part, but also, when did this happen, and how? I mean, to be completely fair, I'm pretty sure this happened in the game too. Anyway, they track the last known GPS location to this sewer entrance here, and we go back to Felicia, Kyoko, and the Amane twins, who casually re-explain the water rumor in case we forgot. Kyoko clearly isn't interested as long as she gets grief seeds. The twins begin to explain that they don't need grief seeds in Kamihama despite the abundance of witches when they're interrupted by one of the underlings, alerting them to Yachiyo and her team's presence. Now, real quick about the Amane twins in the anime, their role here seems to be to recruit members into the Magius, which, relegates them to mostly exposition. Which, considering that role, it's alright by me. It does annoy me that they had to repeat the water rumor again, but it's fine. What really interests me about the twins, other than, their overall cuteness, is the way that they move when they talk. They pose and step so strangely, almost like a dance. It's really weird, but strangely alluring. It's only furthered by the fact that they're twins, so of course everything they do is either symmetrical or complementary. And it's very clear that this is symbolic of their role as recruiters, trying to lure people into the Magius. And I have to be honest, it's kind of working on me. Like, they look good, like doing these weird poses and steps and all that stuff. Like, damn, look at those legs, girl. It's kind of satisfying to see them so in sync. Sometimes a little too in sync. And their trademark, nah, that's really cute despite being sinister. Anyway, when the twins fail to convince Yachiyo and the gang to join them, they reveal their ace in the hole. A literal pocket dimension, or I guess a pocket labyrinth, revealing that they have control over witches, which shocks everyone, especially Felicia and Kyoko. Now, one thing I really liked about this reveal was this signature that appears when they take the labyrinth out of their pocket. Fans of the game will know exactly who made this signature, especially with, the green cube. But honestly, Alina signing these labyrinths as if they were her artwork, that's honestly really cool. Such an Alina thing to do, making these labyrinths her calling cards. I mean, I'm not saying that Alina is a good person in any way, but she's still a badass. As the fight begins, Tsukasa and Tsukuyo separate the team, with having them deal with Yachiyo and Tsuruno, while they have Felicia and Kyoko deal with, quote, the weak-looking girl, aka Iroha. While they initially agree, Felicia, in her berserker nature, actually decides to fight the minions instead, helping Iroha, making it clear that she will not work with witches, no matter how much they are controlled. That, or maybe she was compelled to help Iroha when she was in danger? And in probably one of the most hilarious line deliveries in the show so far, Kyoko just sits back, realizes who she's up against, meaning Felicia, and goes, yeah, no, I ain't doing this. And you can hear the twins' disbelief in her response. The twins were so calm, composed, precise in everything they said or did, and as soon as they got these powerful magical girls on their side, they lost both of them unceremoniously. That was fucking hilarious. The three girls start to get the upper hand, with Iroha finally getting a correct connect, and Kyoko opening the way for Iroha to get to the main body of the Uwasa. We then get another mentorship moment between Kyoko and Felicia, where Kyoko tries to emphasize that you should only fight for yourself and no one else, as that would give you the best chance for survival. Though this is kind of ironic, or maybe hypocritical, considering that the two of them work very closely together to defeat the witch. As the labyrinth is destroyed, we cut back to Yachiyo and Tsuruno, and we don't know if they were even fighting because they're just standing, and there's really no indication of any effort or struggle, which really fucking annoys me. But with the witch destroyed and their magic apparently depleted, it seems that our heroes have won the battle. But, surprise surprise, the evil villains have a backup plan, and that's exactly what they wanted you to think. And to everyone's surprise, things that look like witches come out of their bodies. Tsuruno, being the smart cookie that she is, makes the connection with what Iroha did the other night, but sadly the delivery is so brushed over that it doesn't really show how intelligent Tsuruno really is. Now, this is an interesting change from the game because in the game, only Tsukuyo was able to use her doppel, because at the time Tsukuyo was the only one who could be awakened to 5-star, while her sister just kind of sat in the background cheering her on, I guess. Since then, Tsukasa got her uncap and thus her doppel, so it only made sense for her to, fight alongside her sister, because honestly, otherwise, it would just break the twin symmetry. Twimetry? Nah. Anyway, Iroha finds the Uwasa and tries to fight it. Of course, she's not very good at fighting, as we all know, but all of its attacks miss her, as if by luck. And here, we're reminded of the luck counter, and it's been counting down this whole time, but I didn't notice it until later, and I'll have a link to the entire countdown in the description. But the counter is once again front and center, except this time, it's decreasing in rapid fashion. And due to the same thing, which is Iroha somehow dodging all these attacks. And honestly, that's kind of what I like about stuff like this. Yeah, 24 lucky things will happen to you? Sure, but what exactly counts as a lucky thing? Finding this penny on the floor? Yachiyo having a way to track Felicia even though it was clearly premeditated? Or how about all these near impossible dodges? Like, Iroha wasn't even moving, all she had to do was stand still and the owls would just happen to miss her. If I didn't know any better, it was as if the rumor was intentionally running Iroha out of luck, and with the way the counter is displayed, it gives us a sense of urgency that, oh shit, we're almost down to 0. In fact, we're down to 2. But suddenly, Iroha remembers the creature that she summoned last time she fought a rumor. After some nice visuals and a chilling opening line, she's able to summon the Hairbird and defeat the Uwasa with relative ease. As the creature dissipates, the luck counter goes down to 1. I've actually heard some complaints about this scene where the Uwasa was beaten way too easily, and while I don't remember exactly how the fight went down in the game, I think the anime wanted to make up for it with the build-up to the Doppel. And whether or not it's succeeded in that, well, that's up to you, I guess. Personally, I think it was somewhat effective, but it wasn't really that satisfying. Well, I was satisfied seeing that number go down to 1 and the nick of time, but otherwise it was kind of alright, I guess. We go back up to the others, where they're struggling to fight the twins, but with the Uwasa defeated, their leader comes in to check on them, and it's none other than Mifuyu. And the reunion between Mifuyu, Yachiyo, and Tsuruno, honestly, I almost cried during it. Tsuruno's reaction, the way her eyes light up, and the way she just talks to Mifuyu when she runs up and hugs her old friend, optimistically inviting her back to her restaurant. Goddamn, that just got to me. You can even sense Yachiyo kind of breaking down, desperately asking Mifuyu why she left her. But Mifuyu says she was the one who was left behind, hinting at her insecurities and the true reason why she joined the Magius. And despite Yachiyo's protests, the Magius take their leave. God, that final look when she leaves, just, that's so good! So much pain and regret, but regret for what? Joining the Magius and leaving her friend behind? Or regret that Yachiyo didn't want to join them? Ooh, just so good. As things wind down, Iroha finds out that Felicia is actually homeless, and offers to take her in. When Felicia argues that she just caused more trouble, Tsuruno and Yachiyo offer to train her to, quote, become stronger by teaching her restraint. But this doesn't sit well with Felicia, because the witches killed her parents, the only people she really trusted and loved. Why does she have to be restrained when fighting the witches who are killing not just her family, but other people's families as well? Why is she the one who has to hold back when the witches can't and won't? They deserve the same brutality that they inflict on innocent people. But if there were no witches left, if witches had never existed, and moment ruined. I love a good emotional breakdown scene, especially if the lines are executed well, but the showers, really? Did we really need that? Anyway, Iroha assures Felicia that she's no trouble at all and that they're willing to become her new family, with Yachiyo offering a room in her house. Considering how little Yachiyo trusted Felicia in the beginning, this is really sweet. Only furthered by the look on Felicia's face when she's faced with Iroha's home-cooked meal. Iroha's parents call her and tell her that they found a boarding place for her to stay at now. And we see that her luck hasn't run out yet, as we figure out that the new boarding house that she's supposed to live in is Yachiyo's. So in the last video, I had said that episode 7 looked to be an episode that finally progressed the main plot. And it kinda did. It introduced us to the Wings of the Magius, but it really didn't go much beyond that. On the other hand, we had a lot of nice character beats with Yachiyo, Mifuyu, Tsuruno, and of course Felicia in general. While I think it's a step in the right direction, I feel like it still didn't really do enough. It doesn't help that the story is, up until now, structured episodically. Well, of course it's episodic, but I mean, like, it feels more monster of the week type. Like, it feels like all they do is find a monster, beat the shit out of it, and then move on. Oh, there's another monster. Oh, and we beat the shit out of it so easily. Oh, I guess we're moving on. And it's not that this formula can't work, but at least with the way this anime sets it up, it kind of relies on the overarching plot for us to invest in. Now, the overarching plot we're introduced to from the very beginning is the search for Ui, which honestly is not a very investing plot. In fact, it was almost completely forgotten in this episode. But honestly, that could be forgiven because this episode introduced another overarching plot, which would be the Wings of Magius. Now, this plot has the potential to be more intriguing, especially the close connections between Mifuyu and Yachiyo. And well, that's good enough for me, but at least with my friends that I group watch with, it wasn't really picking up for them. And honestly, I can't blame them because it took them this long to get to the real main plot of the story, and we weren't really invested for the first 6 episodes. And at the rate that the show is going, it's hard to really predict where the season will actually end, and thus when the story will actually pick up, if at all. There's a theory that this clock image actually predicts who's going to get what arc in season 1, therefore predicting where the season will actually end. And you can definitely put stock into this theory, because what had already happened definitely lines up with the theory. But I personally won't get into it, because it's 4 AM, and I'm probably not even going to finish the video before Saturday. Again. Now, I'm still personally excited to see how they'll execute the game's story, because at least at first, it was doing it pretty well. But can the anime overcome the game story's main flaws? I'm not so sure. And, well, while my friends are enjoying the group watch itself, I doubt they would give high praises to the show. But to not end this on a negative note, I am still looking forward to next week's episode, so I hope to see you guys then, and hope to see Alina finally being adapted into the anime. I'm honestly really excited to see what they'll do with her. Well, good luck with Ranked Mirrors, everyone, and I'll see you in a few days.